Hi learners, welcome here. The premise for our discussion today is a conversation I had with a friend. They asked me if I had talked about goals and plans on this channel, and prior to this video that you are watching right now, we had only talked about effective planning. So they shared their thoughts on the subject, and I also shared my thoughts. And I knew for sure this topic won't take long before coming through to you guys because it's so important. So a big shout out to you, my dear friend, for thinking about these learners, because I know you guys will benefit a ton from today's discussion. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure to do, and let's get on to it. What's the difference between a goal and a plan? I'll explain this with an analogy of hiking. For people who seriously hike, and especially to new places, I think there are two most important things that they carry with them: a compass and a map. So the compass at any point is supposed to point them to the true north, and the map, on the other hand, gives them the direction or the how to get to that place they are going to. So the two work hand in hand. I stand corrected, but I believe your assignment as a traveler is to stay aligned to the true north at all times. Yeah, so if you are a serious hiker, please comment down below and let us know how to use compasses in case you've used it before. So if this is the true north, you always are sure of this side will be west, this will be east, and south. So as long as you are sure this is the north, then the other sides are easy for you to figure out. The map, on the other hand, is to keep you moving, to give you the direction and help you stay on the direction. But always you come back to the compass. Am I still facing the right side? Should I, go a little lower? Those kind of things. Please let us know if you're a hiker. Enlighten us so that you're not making the wrong assumptions. And I tend to believe that's how a goal and a plan work. They work hand in hand. The goal shows you what you want to achieve, and the map shows you the how you're going to achieve it. The purpose for this video, by the way, is just to shed light on those two things, because most often people use them interchangeably, which is wrong, because these are two different things. Although they depend on each other, they are completely different. And the danger of that is that sometimes we can end up frustrated because we might be saying we didn't achieve our goals, while in real sense you only came up with plans and you didn't have a goal. You didn't have what you're aiming for. You came up with a strategy, but for what? You get? And on the other hand, if you have a strategy without where you're going, what's the purpose of this strategy? It will be just hanging in the air, if that makes sense. You all know I love to work with examples. So here is one. If you want to lose 5 kgs in 2 months, that's a very clear goal, right? So the plan could look like going to the gym 3 times a week or taking a 6-kilometer walk daily, depending on how much you can take. So that's very clear. The plan is clear, the goal is clear. Another example, you want to buy a car by the end of the year. That's a goal. So the plan could look like saving 50 Gs every month. Of course, it depends with the car you want to buy. Maybe it's a second-hand car, right? So you have a goal and a plan. And that plan could further be broken down to, yes, now I'm saving 50K every month. How do I go about it? It could mean cutting down on takeouts. If you are the person who buys lunch every time at work, you could decide this time round I'll not, I'll be carrying food from home. Or you could say no more impulse buying, or you can cut down on subscriptions that you don't need, or you can, just give some subscriptions a pause for some time to be able to raise that fund. So these are examples of goals and plans to achieve those goals. And when we talked about effective planning, by the way, if you've not watched that video, you can go and check it out. One of the things we said, actually the first thing we said, was that you need to come up with a very clear goal. For your plan to succeed and to be effective, you need to know where you're going, and that's the purpose of the goal. You don't want to make plans that are just sitting in the air, right? Imagine if you said, I want to be running 2 kilometers every morning. What's the purpose of that? It's just there, it's plain, and you can easily fall off from that anytime, because you don't lose anything if you don't run, one day. Because if you fail to run today, that will be it. It will just be you missed running today. You get? But when you have a goal of losing 5 kgs in 2 months, and one of the plans to do that is to run, then when you don't do that morning run, you know that I'm steps behind from reaching this goal. The goal is to keep you aligned, that you keep coming back to the strategy. This is the end goal, and the strategy now, the plan, is always, aligned to that bigger vision, that bigger goal. So it's like working backwards. You have where you want to be, and then now you trace it backwards. What do I need to do to get there? And that's the purpose of the plan. There can be a lot of frustration if you are setting plans instead of goals, and then you say you didn't achieve your goal. Yeah, it can lead to a lot of frustration. You want to be saving, but what is it for? If there's no goal, the chances of that plan failing are so high, guys. A question for us to think about: when the year was starting, did you write goals? If the answer is yes, do you have plans to get to those goals? It could be a call for you to go back to the drawing board and just see whether you have plans on how to get to the goals, whether you came up with just plans and you don't have a goal, or if you have a goal but you didn't establish the plans. Yeah, the two things have to work hand in hand for it to be a success. The friend shared with me a verse: commit your plans to the Lord and he will establish them. And that's from Proverbs 16 verse 3. And this is a very interesting touch to our discussion. When I read that verse, I was so curious, and I went to read other versions of the same verse. And the word that is used in place of plan is activities, deeds, whatever you do. All these words can be used in the place of a plan, as in its actions, it's what you are doing. And those are the ones that we commit to God. Those are the ones we commit to Him so that He can establish them. God honors those plans. God wants to honor the plans that we make. I'm thinking about the promise that God made to Abraham, that his descendants would be slaves in a certain nation and He will bring them to the promised land at some point, right? That was a promise. That was a goal that God had. And some of the plans, or how He got to that goal, was raising people like Moses. And we see how Moses was saved from being murdered when the kids were being murdered back in Egypt. But he was saved, and that was part of the plan. And then we see him being raised in the Pharaoh's palace. I don't know if it was a palace, but yeah, he was being raised by such a big person in the nation. So he learned many things. He learned how to do leadership, and then we see him again going in the desert, taking care of sheep, all these things. And then there are different strategies that God gave him. He gave him the 10 commandments. He gave him orders of how the people were supposed to live. He told them how to win battles. All these things were plans, and they were actions that God took for them to get to the promised land, for them to attain the goal He had for them, right? Is this forming a picture now? Is this coming clearer for you, the difference between a goal and a plan? I hope so. And of course, God is powerful. He would have chosen to do it any other way. He would have teleported them, because He's an all-powerful God. But this story is recorded for us to learn from it, learn the processes. Sometimes the plan can be long, other plans are just short, yeah? So God intended for this to be there, for us to see it this way, so that we can learn such things about planning, and effective planning for that matter, that brings us to the bigger goal. This is a big encouragement to us. Don't just write goals, come up with a plan as well. What's your strategy? How are you going to achieve that goal? How are you going to get to that goal? And now these are the plans that we are submitting to God. This is what we bring to Him so that He can establish them. Now you know the difference between a goal and a plan. And as we come to an end, the thought that is coming to my mind is, we submit these things to God. We bring these plans to God so that He can approve them, or even give us a different approach. And God is good, and God knows best. He knows what's ahead of us, and He knows how we can get there faster. And if we need to go slower, He knows those things. That's why He's asking us to commit those things to Him, and then He can establish them. Yeah, my challenge to us is, don't just write goals, have plans, yeah? And don't write plans thinking they are goals. Have plans after you've come up with a goal. Let the goal be your compass, so that now every strategy you come up with, as in plans, can be aligned to that bigger goal. I hope this is making sense to us, guys. I'm really excited about this conversation, and it actually made me think back through the goals that I created for the year, or I came up with for the year, and I hope you do the same. Go back to the goals, see if you have plans for them, and if you just have plans thinking they are goals, and do that correction so that you can bring now your plans to God, how you want or desire to achieve the goal. And you know, God can give even so many ways of achieving that goal. So yeah, that's the short or long message I had for us. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and see you in one of my other videos. Bye.